What's up, guys? It's me, Tim, just back again. Gonna make another video here today. Something I've been thinking about for a while. If you've been following the channel at all recently, we've been doing a lot of stuff with cards, trading cards mostly. A lot of opening packs, opening boxes, cracking boxes, trying to pull sweet cards with Cam and Ellis and stuff like that. Shout out my buddy Ryan. Brennan for kind of getting us all into that and stuff. But today I was looking through YouTube, realized there wasn't a video on this, so I wanted to make one about the best bio cards / file cards, whatever you want to call them, that came with action figures back in the day, whether it's the 80s or the 90s up until, you know, 2000s, whatever today. Sometimes action figures on the back of the box would have a cutout and save cardboard rectangle that showed their stats, their height, their weight, their special powers, their weapons they used, their special move, a little paragraph about them, something like that, to let you know a little bit more about the character, a little bit of the backstory. So I compiled a list. I collect them. Not only do we collect trading cards, but I also collect bio cards, file cards. Got a whole bunch of them. Know a pretty good amount about them. It's hot out here. I'm not in the air conditioning. I'm in the garage. It's like after 9 o'clock at night on a Thursday. But I've been wanting to make this video. I put some info together. And let's talk about a couple of them. Let's talk about some of my favorites, talk about some ones that had bio cards but maybe aren't the best, and show you a couple of examples maybe up in this corner or something like that as we go along. Alright, so sit back. Let's get into this. Alright, first up I want to talk about a couple of toy lines, action figure lines that had bio cards or something like that. But I'm going to call them not my favorites. I'm not going to say I hate these ones. These are ones that I still probably got a few examples of, a bunch of examples of, but they're maybe just not my favorite. First off, the one I'm going to talk about is Spawn from McFarlane Toys back in the day, in the 90s. They kind of McFarlane sort of revitalized the action figure line. Their action figures really in the mid 90s. Their action figures were kind of just lame and 0 points of articulation, and you know, not a lot of thought going into them. And McFarlane came out and made a bunch of awesome action figures with Spawn and Spawn Alley and all that other stuff. And it really helped the production, you know. And then people really started upping their game with action figures. But he had bio cards on the back of his. If you look, I got a couple of them. It's really just a picture of the action figure itself with you know, the logo on there, the Spawn logo or something like that, and it just really gives you, again, a picture of the figure, the name of the figure, character, and then just a couple sentences about it. So really not a whole lot there. Still cool, still cut it out on the back of the card. Even Todd himself gave himself a little bio card on a couple of the figures and stuff. But again, maybe not the most interesting. Not the most interesting, but still there. Also, I want to talk about Battle Trolls. Battle Trolls was another line in the 90s. Kind of had some crazy, back when Trolls had a big fad in the early 90s, and the Battle Trolls were cool figures, but the bio cards themselves are a little weird. They're kind of longer shaped. They're kind of really long rectangles, and it's just, again, a picture of the figure itself and a little story about it. Those were by Hasbro, Battle Trolls. Air Raiders is another one. Air Raiders is another figure line that I had as a kid. I still have a couple of them. I still have a couple of the bio cards even and stuff like that. You get a little cartoon picture of, of the character with his name. You get a little quote from the guy, which is kind of weird. You get a little quote that it says from him, and then a little again, just a straight up little paragraph about him. You're not getting any stats, you're not getting his rank, you're not getting his weapons, or you know, any of the other cool stuff that you'd want to get in some of those other lines. Transformers, believe it or not, another Hasbro. And Air Raiders was Hasbro. You'll see a lot of these. Battle Trolls, Hasbro. Air Raiders, Hasbro. Transformers, Hasbro. Transformers was cool that it was an early action figure line that gave bio cards, and you need like 3D glasses to read them. Like there's James Bond Jr. is another one. James Bond Jr. Bio cards. They're long. You can't even get them in a 4x6 top loader. You know, they're like super long. But what's cool about it is that you get the 3D glasses or the red only glasses, whatever, and you can decode the little stats about it and stuff like that. But again, yeah, Transformers was never big on the Transformers. And then Visionaries is another one. Visionaries was a cool figure line, but kind of weak bio cards. They still gave them, which was cool. It's cut out on the back and everything, but a little weak. Superpowers and Superheroes, both by the Kenner line. I have a few of them and I appreciate them. I like that the Superheroes line made it look like it was a newspaper headline, like on the back of the action figure card. You cut it out, looked like a little newspaper. Superman, it would have the headline and a picture, or if it was Penguin, you know, it's his picture and the little headline made it look like a doodle-doodle-doo, you know. And the Superpowers, that was the Superheroes, comic book Superheroes. The Superpowers line just really had more like a standard traditional baseball card size to file card that you would have. Another one is Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck, cool character, cool TV show. The bio cards, again, on the back of the card, you cut it out. They were just kind of all solid purple. They did have some good, as far as like stats go and stuff like that. Let me pull up a picture of it. Yeah, like it's got a quote. You get a little quote from a guy. You get a long paragraph about his personality. But again, you get the special kills, you get the occupation, you get his name. It's an intelligence report. That's what I like about it. So it's sort of like an actual document that you'd have, but not the coolest. Captain Power is another one. I didn't really have a lot of Captain Power toys as kids, but they had bio cards on the back of them. If you ever look them up, I'll put a picture over here of what they look like and stuff. Again, I think that I don't have a picture on my thing here of them, but I think it's more just a picture of the guy in a paragraph. Centurions, which was a cool line. I had some as a kid, and they're coming back in popularity. They're sort of expensive if you want to get them nowadays. A lot of cool accessories that you stick to them and stuff. They came with like a poster and a booklet and like a bio card, but again, sort of standard issue, just little picture and not a lot of thought behind it. That's the thing. When it's cool that you're getting these little paragraphs on these guys, but it seems like there's a lot less personality if it's just a picture of the guy and a couple of words. Like I'll get into the prototype, what I feel like the prototype of a bio card or a file card should be, but these just aren't really hitting on all cylinders. Another one I wanted to talk about is WCW Galoob. I love pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling figures, and I'll talk about some more of them in a little bit that are my favorite. But Galoobs by WCW, just again kind of boring. Just a big picture of you got a real picture of the real guy, and you got you got the stripes going on. It's red, white, and blue. It's America. Some of the stuff maybe isn't super relevant with the guys. Like maybe all of their mottos aren't exactly what they should be, and they always embellish the heights and the weights and stuff like that. But wasn't huge on the Galoob. Respect to the Galoob line, but not one of my favorites. Here's another thing I wanted to talk about. figure lines that didn't even get bio cards that probably should have got bio cards back in the day, if you think about it. I'm going to talk about Star Wars by Kenner. They may or may not have come with little trading cards inside. See, a lot of figures back in the day, Marvel Toy Biz, I think, was the same way too. They come with a baseball card size card inside the box with the figure sort of included with the figure. But that's not, and sometimes I guess you could call that a bio card if it's got all their stats and the listings and all that other stuff on it, but that's not exactly like the clip and save from the garbage that would usually throw away type accessory that I'm talking about here. And Star Wars, that as huge as it was in the 70s and 80s as far as an action figure line, did not have them. Same thing with Masters of the Universe. If you look at the back of the Masters of the Universe boxes, and Ghostbusters too, they're all just kind of the same thing. It's just got the same, they're all the same back, you know, which is kind of lame. You know, you'd figure He-Man would have been perfect to have big bio cards and real well written up stuff. Thundercats too. Thundercats is the same thing. The back is just a listing of all the guys you could get. Back of the card. Oh, you know, it would just change with the new series and stuff like that. But Thundercats would have been perfect to have bio cards. And shame on you guys for not including them back there. And same thing again. Back to the wrestling. WWE, when they switched over to Jakks Pacific, when Jakks got the license and started manufacturing the wrestling figures in 95-ish, 96, did not include anything. They would once in a while, as it went on, come with a card here and there or whatever, and there's more, obviously, wrestling action figure bio cards that I'll talk about, but Jakks Pacific all through their bone crunching action line, into their Titantron Live line, into their Ruthless Aggression line, up and through the deluxe, classic superstars and deluxe classics. There was never a clip and save. The back would, each one would be individualized and stuff like that, but did not ever include a file card or a bio card. And all of those guys are great for that kind of stuff. You got finishing moves, you got height, you got weight, you got former championships they won. You didn't do it though. Now I'm going to talk about my favorites. I'm going to talk about who's got the best ones, in no particular order, why they're the best ones that I collect still to this day, one that I'm sure a lot of other people out there still collect them. I remember my friend John Knife, when we were a little kid, had so many G.I. Joes. He had like every single G.I. Joe back in the day, and he kept the weapons and he had the guys and he kept the file cards. And I always thought that was awesome. And then as I got older, I got more into G.I. Joes, bought a ton of them, bought the vehicles, bought weapons, fixed them, bought O-rings and replaced them. And then as I got into buying cards and buying file cards, I made sure that I bought a bunch. Those were the first ones I wanted to get, were the G.I. Joe file cards, all written by Larry Hama. They are the prototype of what a file card should be. They're the best written ones done. They started, you know, they started with in like a tan card, talking all about what the guy is, what his code name is, his file name, his whatever SN stands for, something number, primary military specialty, secondary military specialty, their grade, birthplace. Then you get a huge couple paragraph on what they're about, and then you get another basically paragraph quote from them. As they got older, you know, they went into like a gray sort of cards. Same thing, you get their birthplace and their grade, you get their code name and exactly what they were as far as their job. Some of them had their autograph on it, like I know the Fridge did. Then they even got into bigger ones, like the standard G.I. Joe file bio cards, the old school ones, will fit in a 3.5 by 5, I think it is, top loader, whereas the next size up is like 4x6. The earlier ones will all fit in the first size, 3.5x5, whatever it is, and then as they got older, like the GI Joe Ninja Force, they're huge. They don't fit in a big top loader like that. You need even bigger top loader. And then they got pink and stuff like that. They got a little crazy, but still all very well done. Even in you get the box art on the card itself, and the box art was always outstanding for GI Joes. And the later ones would, show you the box art and then give you a detailed list of what each weapon is, and then this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3, and then it will show you on the bottom like the list of what each weapon is and stuff. Really, really way more detail than they need to get into as far as like your hometown, the guy's hometown and stuff like that. Larry Hama was awesome, and I know he really took a lot of time and like consulted military dudes and stuff like that, and the military to get that stuff right. Also, second favorite, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, dude. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles had awesome. They were probably the first ones, aside from G.I. Joe, after G.I. Joe, that people would really get and collect and hang on to, because it told you all about it. It would, again, it listed all the accessories that you got, so you'd know what they were, and if you lost them, whatever. It told you whether he's a good or bad guy. Said a little portrait of this, that. You get the nice box art again, height, weight, favorite food, weird things, and then a big paragraph about the guy. But a nicely done card. All of them were, clip and save. I consider it, and same thing with G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles, I consider that an accessory. Like, if you buy a loose action figure, that's just me speaking, if you buy a loose action figure and it says loose but complete with accessories, the bio card is kind of an accessory. It tells you on the card to clip it and save it. You're supposed to have a file on these guys. It's supposed to be part of the game. If he comes with a gun, or he comes with a shield, he comes with a card that you're supposed to hang on to memorize or file away for later, whatever. And Ninja Turtles was one of my favorite ones. Next up, Toxic Crusaders. Toxic Crusaders has awesome file cards. They look like toxic waste barrels, which is awesome. It's an actual picture of the figure on it. Shows you an actual picture of the guy. Tells you a little, radiation type, toxicity level, occupation. You get a little paragraph about the guy and a little weird tip at the bottom of each guy. Really well done. Fits in a 3.5x5 top loader. Nice cards. I like that it's kind of a gimmick with the barrel too. It's pretty nicely done. Only one that's like shaped like something, you know what I mean? Food Fighters. If you ever get a chance to see one of them, they're hard to come by because if you have them on card, they keep them on card, so nobody wants to cut them up and open them. But I have a couple of them. They're big and giant. Again, they don't fit in the biggest top loaders that they make. Big artwork of the guy, which is great. I think it's separate, a different artwork from the front of the box even. You got nickname, where they're born, their strength, their weakness, which is always fun when they sit and talk about their strengths and their weaknesses, their goals, hobbies, which is weird. But Food Fighters was just a kind of a silly line to begin with, and they were made by Mattel. Playmates did TMNT, Playmates did Toxic Crusaders as well. So Playmates was very good at doing bio cards. Playmates was good at doing bio cards. Hasbro was good at doing bio cards. Hasbro obviously did the G.I. Joe ones. Dick Tracy also. Dick Tracy's awesome. By Playmates as well. Big bio cards, file ones on the back. They're a 4x6 you gotta get. They're sort of like wanted posters for the bad guys, which is awesome. big Public Enemy, what they're wanted for, description, the weapons, MO, which is great, their past crimes, quote, warnings, all about the guy. And then they also even have like for the police officers. There's only two good guys in that whole line, which is weird. There's like 10 guys in the line, and only 2 of them are good guys. But for them, they have like a little police profile, special skills award, background, that kind of thing, which I always thought was cool. Next up, I want to talk about Boom again, the wrestling guys. WWE first did it back in the 80s with their LJN line. Not only would you get the figure, but you get a poster of the guy that came rolled up in the bottom of the toy in like a little rectangle box, and on the back you get a clip out card of the guy, and it was obviously a cartoonish look for the figure, but on the back you get a real picture of the guy, and a paragraph that just talked about him, but again, it would talk about, really talking them up, and they're well written if you look at them and you read them, and they're pretty cool. It's cool that you can kind of get all of it. You'd have the toy, the poster, and the card that you could keep and hang on to. And after they had LJN doing their toys, they got into Hasbro in the early 90s, and Hasbro started making their figures, and then Hasbro started doing clip out bio cards on the back of their toys, and they're really well done. They're all black and white, none of them are color, but it talks, again, you got height, you got weight, you got origin, which is a weird way to say where they were from, and then you get like 4 bullet points from him, like boom, he was the champion, boom, he he's the biggest, got the biggest biceps, boom, he did this, boom, he did that. WWE always did a good job with their bio cards. And after Hasbro, they went to Just Toys and did Bend-Ems for a little while. And the Bend-Ems on the back was a clip-out card, the same thing, but it was not oversized. It was baseball card sized. And when they started, the comic artist, I want to say it's Joe Jusko, but that's not his name. Joe Jusko is another artist. I'm going to put the name of the guy right here. Guy Dorian, maybe. He did the artwork for the cards, and they're really, really cool. They're like comic book, for at least for the first set of them, and then they changed. And even recently, now WWE's doing new retro figures themselves, and they're not great. They're not as good as the old ones. They're black and white, and they're plain looking. And Zombie Sailor Toys, I believe, is the guy that's doing Heels versus Faces. He's doing kind of a retro figure line, and they have Heels and Faces. They have cool old, looks like Hasbro type file cards, but they're almost even better. They're color. They got a signature from the guy. It's cool artwork, but realistic artwork. And again, you got bullet points, height, weight, where they're from. And also back in the day, bio cards that I liked from wrestling, WCW, their original San Francisco Toy Makers run, they had cards that didn't move at all, 0 points of articulation, but they started coming with bio cards. The tag team ones and stuff would come with oversized ones that talked about both guys. It would show a real life picture of both guys, height, weight, hometown, and a nice little write-up. And then the single figure guys that came out would have a smaller one, bigger than a baseball card, but smaller, than a 3.5 by 5 top loader. And I always thought those were cool. Because again, I'm a fan of anything wrestling and any pro wrestling, and then to just have those to come with the figure, it's a nice little bonus. I talked about James Bond Jr. I think before. Long. They're one of my favorites, more so than Transformers. Long, and you need 3D glasses to decode them. The vehicles even got bio cards, which is cool. And that's another one I'm going to talk to. Biker Mice from Mars from Galoob. James Bond Jr. was Hasbro. Again, Hasbro really good with doing those. Galoob. Now here where they messed up the WCW ones, kind of in my eyes, not really. The Biker Mice cards are awesome, and the Biker Mice cards, again, when they would put a car out, you know, the individual guy would get a, you know, his height depends on posture. That's funny, you know, something with like carbuncle and weight and evil weapons, and then you get a nice picture of the figure, again, the toy itself, and a write-up. But then they would put out a you know, Vinnie's Rockets, Radical Rocket Sled, for example, and the sled would get its own bio card that you could cut out and hang on to, which is cool. It's nice, you know, again, a nice touch to have. Cops is another one. Cops, one of my favorite toy lines from back in the day. Cops and Crooks, whatever you want to call it. They had a couple of different cards. They got better as they went along too. You know, they started out kind of plain, and then for like the first series of guys, even though it was a cool write-up with the picture of the guy and the code name, department of origin, his badge number, but then as they got older, they got more in depth. It would show you know, more color and the shield. And then as the bad guys came out, they'd have the fingerprint of the bad guy and his MO. Again, anytime you have an MO listed, that's pretty cool. Their arrest records, convictions, physical characteristics and stuff like that. I always thought that was cool. Cops and Crooks did a good job. And they fit in a 3.5x5 top loader too. Rambo from Coleco, the Freedom Fighters. They had like weird, not weird, but kind of baseball card sized cutouts too of their guys, which are hard to find and hard to come by. I think I have a couple of them. But it wasn't a big thing in the back that you cut out, you know, and there were ones, they would have file cards that came with like, because they would sell just the gun. They would sell the figure that came with his accessories, but then they would also sell just like a set that was just like a mortar launcher, and that would come with its own file card, which is cool. I talked about the WCW Galoob figures. I do want to talk about WCW's Bendies, their Bendies or Bendums that they came out with in the early 90s. They had awesome file cards on the back. The whole half of the card was basically a big file card. And I don't have a picture on me, but it was like all of their stats, a big real life picture. They did a really good job with that. But you got to literally keep half of the card back then. You know, again, kids back in the day would rip open these figures, and the packages went flying. They didn't think about cutting these things out and saving them and hanging on to them. And that's why, you know, there's still a lot of them that exist, but less of them exist because of that, definitely. Crash Test Dummies, another one I want to talk about. They had two different size bio cards too. One set and one series they came out with was a baseball card. On the back of the card, you could cut it out. It was baseball card size. Will fit in a baseball card top loader. And then other ones were actual full size, like 3.5x5. Give you a little picture of the guy and a little description of him and stuff like that. Bright yellow, just like, you know, really pops all in color and stuff. Which is fun for the kids and stuff. It's reminiscent of that, you know, safety motif that they're going to. Another wrestling one I want to talk about that I forgot to talk about is that WWE did a grudge match line. They're these little figures. They're awesome. They didn't make it, you know, you can still get them out there. They're not super expensive. But they would put two guys that were feuding together at the time, and these little figures in a little ring, and you could play with them, whatever, and take them with you. But it's really, it's almost like a pay-per-view on the back. The card, you could cut it out. It was huge, barely fits in a 4x6 top loader. Gives you a full rundown of each guy, their height, weight, where they're from, their signature move, their motto, the titles, and then a big write-up about the match itself, which I always thought was really cool. I forgot to mention that in with the other wrestling stuff. But I want to say, and then also the last two, Cowboys of Moo Mesa and Skeleton Warriors. Cowboys of Moo Mesa, just a big, great card, big orange, bright, great colors, talking about each guy, a lot of puns in there and stuff like that, which is kind of takes it down a notch too. But a big card and an awesome looking card. It talks about their legend and stuff like that. And Skeleton Warriors, again, same thing. You get a little thing about the guy and his weapons, and all about him, and a comic-y looking picture of the guy. Really well done. Everybody came with one too. And they're all figures and all bio cards that you should check out. Excuse me. They're not going to be around forever. They're deteriorating. They're probably not in great shape and stuff like that. But respect the bio card. If it comes with your figure, cut it out. Save the card back. They're cool to look at. You can use them as decorations. I use them in my one little toy area, just along the wall to kind of decorate. You know what I mean? They're fun. Look at all the different figures from the set. You can see who's your favorite and stuff. All right, I'm gonna go inside. Take care. Hey, what's up, guys? I got a couple of them I just wanted to mention that I forgot to do in the video. I figured I'd stick it on the end here, let you know about a couple of more real quick that I had or forgot about. Tailspin, based off of the TV show, the cartoon at the time that was very popular. Characters from the Jungle Book basically running an airport, flying things back and forth. Good cartoon, fun, Disney and stuff like that. There's Baloo there. But what's cool is all of the bio cards look like a passport. He's like a pilot. So, and this is his passport here from going back and forth. That's Baloo there, which is pretty cool. It's a nice little touch. It's not just a bio card. Then you got the Addams Family. That's based off of the cartoon that was also on at the time and very popular. Another Playmates line. Here you got Lurch, you got all the cartoon characters there, and what's cool about that is instead of a bio, it's basically the freaky family portrait. You got the appearance, the hobbies, a quote, and a paragraph of the personality, and it's like a little painting of the character in the top corner there. Then you got Sky Commanders. I love these things when I was a kid. I had a bunch of them, still have the bio cards too. You'd basically hook a string from one thing to another, and the action figure would zip line in between them on this little apparatus. Pretty revolutionary at the time. But the bio cards are long, very long. They won't fit in a 4x6 top loader, so you got to kind of keep them out. And then finally you got Pirates of Dark Water, one of my favorite comics all time, favorite video games, TV shows, action figure lines. Everything's great about this. These figures are awesome. The cards are beautiful, and the back is like a treasure map. It's got all the artwork for all of the guys, and but the bio card is such a big part of the card. It's too big, you can't even really cut it out. But beautiful, beautiful stuff.